The American dream is facing a perfect storm as the gold market explodes and mass layoffs suddenly shatter thousands of households across the nation. The ground beneath your feet is shifting, and what you thought was a secure future is evaporating right before your very eyes. If you are watching the gold prices today, you are witnessing a historic transfer of wealth that most people are completely unprepared for. The price of gold has just shattered the $5,300 mark, a level that was once considered impossible by even the most aggressive Wall Street analysts. But why is this happening right now? And why should you be terrified if you only have a dollar sitting in your bank account? The reality is that the United States dollar is losing its grip as the global reserve currency, and the market is screaming for a safe haven. At the very same moment that your savings are being devalued by this massive inflationary pressure, the very companies that built the modern American economy are turning their backs on the workforce. Amazon and UPS have just sent a shockwave through the labor market by announcing the elimination of 46,000 positions in a single sweep. Think about that number for a second. 46,000 families who will no longer have a steady paycheck to cover their mortgages, their car loans, or their children's education. This isn't just a corporate restructuring. It is a clear signal that the giants of retail and logistics are bracing for a massive economic contraction. The halls of Amazon's fulfillment centers and the sorting bays of UPS are falling silent, replaced by a cold and a calculated efficiency that leaves human workers in the cold. And speaking of the cold, a brutal and deadly nor'easter is currently slamming the Northeast, turning a financial crisis into a matter of life and death. The reports coming in are devastating. Lives lost to the freezing temperatures, and an infrastructure that is buckling under the weight of record-breaking snowfall. If you are living in the path of this storm, your priority is survival. But even after the snow melts, the financial wreckage will remain. Heating bills are expected to skyrocket as energy supplies are strained to the breaking point, adding yet another layer of stress to the average American's budget. How much more can the working class take when the cost of staying warm is becoming a luxury that many can no longer afford? We are seeing a convergence of events that feels almost biblical. A triple threat of currency collapse, mass unemployment, and environmental chaos. The Federal Reserve is backed into a corner. They are meeting in the shadow of this gold surge, and their next move could either save the economy or burn it to the ground. If they raise rates to fight the inflation reflected in the gold price, they make it even harder for the thousands of newly unemployed workers to survive on credit. If they lower rates to stimulate the economy, they risk sending the dollar into a total death spiral, making every loaf of bread and every gallon of gas twice as expensive by next month. You need to look at your bank statement right now and ask yourself, what happens if my income stops today? The middle class is being hollowed out, and the gap between those who own hard assets like gold and those who rely on a crumbling dollar is becoming a canyon. The news from the ports is just as grim, as trade tensions with Europe and the situation in Greenland are threatening to choke off the supply of essential goods. Prices at the grocery store are not coming down. They are being baked into a new, permanent reality of high costs and low supply. This is the restructuring of the global order, and the American consumer is the one being asked to pay the price. We are seeing the end of the era of cheap goods and easy money, and the transition is going to be painful for anyone who is not paying attention. The layoffs at UPS are particularly concerning because they represent the heartbeat of American commerce. When people stop shipping packages, it means the consumer is tapped out. It means the buying power of the average American has finally hit a wall. Amazon's cuts are even more ominous, as they suggest that even the king of e-commerce sees a dark cloud on the horizon that they cannot outrun. If the most powerful corporations in the world are cutting back, why would you think your job is safe? Why would you think your retirement fund is protected? The stock market is twitching with every headline, swinging wildly as investors try to find a place to hide their capital. But for you, the person living in a suburb or a city trying to make ends meet, the stock market is a distant game compared to the reality of a freezing house and a looming layoff notice. We must talk about the safety of your family, because these economic pressures lead to social instability. When people are desperate, when they can't afford heat and they have no job, the fabric of society begins to fray at the edges. The nor'easter is a physical manifestation of the cold reality we are all facing, a world that is becoming more unpredictable and more dangerous by the hour. Emergency services are stretched thin, and the government response is being hampered by the very same economic constraints that are affecting you. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? Or are we just entering the darkest part of the storm? Preparation is no longer an option. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to survive this decade. You must rethink everything you know about money, about work, and about security. The old rules no longer apply, and those who cling to them will be the first to be swept away by the rising tide of change. Keep a close eye on the gold charts, because they are the true barometer of the world's faith in our system. As long as that line keeps moving up, the foundation of our financial world is shaking. And as the snow continues to fall in the east, remember that the weather is just one part of a much larger environment that is becoming increasingly hostile to the unprepared. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and most importantly, stay safe. The world is changing faster than the news can report it, and we are here to make sure you have the truth before it's too late. Please subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications, because the information we provide could be the difference between losing everything and protecting your family's future. Do not wait until the next crisis hits to take action. Join our community today to stay ahead of the markets and the global events that are reshaping our lives. Subscribe now and stay tuned for our next urgent update. The silence from Washington is deafening as the national debt clocks continue to spin at a rate that defies human comprehension. Every second that passes adds tens of thousands of dollars to a burden that your children and grandchildren will be forced to carry. But the crisis is no longer a future problem. It is a present reality. We are seeing the early stages of a sovereign debt crisis that could make the Great Recession of 2008 look like a minor market correction. When we talk about gold hitting $5,300, we are not just talking about a shiny metal getting more expensive. We are talking about the rapid and violent devaluation of the paper in your wallet. Think about what this means for your everyday life. Your grocery bill, which has already doubled in the last few years, is about to take another massive leap forward. The cost of a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread, a carton of eggs, these are the real metrics of survival that the government tries to hide behind manipulated inflation statistics. But you feel it every time you swipe your credit card. You see it in the dwindling balance of your checking account after the bills are paid. And now, with the layoff announcements from Amazon and UPS, the safety net is being pulled out from under the American middle class. Imagine being one of those 30,000 UPS workers, individuals who worked through the pandemic, who delivered the world to our doorsteps when everything else was closed. They were called heroes then, but today they are being treated as liabilities on a corporate balance sheet. This is the cold, hard truth of the new economy. Loyalty is a relic of the past, and your job is only as secure as the next quarterly earnings report. The ripple effect of these layoffs will be felt in every local economy across the country, from the small businesses that rely on those workers' spending to the local tax bases that fund schools and roads. As these families tighten their belts, the entire economic engine begins to sputter and stall. We are also seeing a terrifying escalation in global tensions that most mainstream media outlets are glossing over. The situation in Greenland and the North Atlantic is becoming a flashpoint for a new kind of resource war, one that involves the world's superpowers vying for control of the Arctic's untapped wealth. This isn't just a diplomatic spat, it is a military chess match with nuclear-armed players, and the stakes could not be higher. The doomsday clock moving closer to midnight is not a metaphor. It is a reflection of the fact that we are living in the most dangerous period of human history since the Cuban Missile Crisis. If a conflict breaks out, the global supply chains that are already strained by the nor'easter and economic sanctions will completely collapse. Imagine a world where the internet goes dark, where the power grid is compromised, and where the flow of goods into American ports stops overnight. This is why the current Beau Tuyet in the Northeast is so significant. It is a dress rehearsal for a larger systemic failure. When the lights go out and the heat stops working during a record-breaking storm, you realize how fragile our modern civilization truly is. You realize that your survival depends on your own preparation, not on a government agency that is already overwhelmed and underfunded. The energy markets are in a state of absolute chaos, with oil and natural gas prices swinging wildly as traders bet on the next geopolitical disaster. For the average American family, this means that filling up your tank or heating your home is becoming a source of constant anxiety. We are seeing reports of elderly citizens having to choose between buying their life-saving medication and keeping their homes warm enough to survive the night. This is happening in the wealthiest nation on earth, and it is a national disgrace. But the elite are not feeling the pain. They are the ones moving their wealth into gold and offshore havens, leaving the rest of us to deal with the fallout. The stock market may show green numbers one day, but those numbers are inflated by the very same currency devaluation that is ruining your purchasing power. You must look past the headlines and understand the underlying mechanics of this collapse. The Federal Reserve is trapped in a nightmare of its own making, having printed trillions of dollars over the last decade with no plan for how to pull that money back without destroying the economy. They are now forced to choose between saving the banking system or saving the people. And history shows us exactly which choice they will make every single time. Your 401k, your pension, your savings account, these are all denominated in a currency that is being intentionally debited by those in power. Is it any wonder that the world is turning to gold? Is it any wonder that the price is soaring as people lose faith in the system? We are entering a period of stagflation on steroids, where prices go up while the economy shrinks and jobs vanish. It is a toxic combination that destroys societies from the inside out. And as the nor'easter continues to bury the East Coast, the physical damage to infrastructure will cost billions to repair, money that the government simply does not have. They will print more money to cover the costs, which will lead to even higher inflation, which will lead to even higher gold prices, and the cycle will continue until the system breaks. You need to take control of your destiny today. Do not wait for the news to tell you things are bad, because by the time they admit it, it will be too late to act. Look at your debt, look at your assets, and make the hard choices now while you still have the freedom to do so. Diversify your holdings. Ensure you have physical supplies to weather a prolonged emergency, and stay connected with your community. The strength of the American people has always been in our ability to come together during times of crisis, and that strength is going to be tested like never before in the coming months. The layoffs at Amazon and UPS are just the beginning. We are likely to see a domino effect across the retail and tech sectors as the consumer slowdown takes hold. The era of infinite growth is over, and the era of radical survival has begun. Every headline we see, every storm that hits, every war that starts, is a piece of a larger puzzle that shows a world in transition. It is a transition away from the American-led global order and toward something new, something more volatile and less certain. But in that uncertainty, there is also opportunity for those who are brave enough to see the truth and act upon it. The truth is that the system is broken, but you don't have to be broken with it. Keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground, because the next update could be the most important one yet. We are committed to bringing you the raw, unfiltered truth about what is happening to your money, your safety, and your future. The mainstream media will try to distract you with celebrity gossip and partisan bickering, but we will stay focused on the things that actually matter to your life. As the snow piles up and the markets melt down, remember that knowledge is your most valuable asset. Stay warm, stay safe, and stay prepared for anything. The storm is here, and it's time to decide which side of history you want to be on. If you found this report urgent and necessary, please share it with your friends and family. They deserve to know the truth as much as you do. Don't forget to hit the like button to help this message reach more people who are currently in the dark. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel and click the bell icon so you never miss a breaking news update that could save your financial life. We are in this together, and we will continue to provide you with the insights you need to navigate these turbulent times. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next critical report. God bless you, and God bless America as we face these challenges ahead.